Brian Flores is the #1 trending topic in the United States, and rightfully so. He's filing a class action suit against the NFL and its teams alleging racism, systemic and institutional racism in its hiring practices, something that we've all seen, we've all observed anecdotally over decades, as there's one African-American coach, still 5 openings, but one African-American coach in the NFL, and that is, of course, Mike Tomlin, who our next guest played for, CBS Sports analyst Bryant McFadden. Good to see you, brother. Great day to see you. Great time to talk to you, as if there wasn't already a bunch of stuff going on. But let's just start right there, man. This is developing. We're processing this in real time. When you first heard this story about Brian Flores taking the NFL to court, your reaction was what?
Surprised, shocked. Clearly, the things he put out for us to see. I'm surprised, but then I'm not surprised, right? Especially if all these allegations are true. But I'm super surprised and shocked because I felt like Brian Flores would eventually get a job. But with him putting this information out for the entire world to see and suing the NFL, suing the Miami Dolphins, suing the New York Giants, and of course putting the text messages he received from Bill Belichick, with him doing all of this, guys, it's safe to say he probably will never coach again. And before I came on with you guys, I was listening and watching, and I saw he came out with a statement, a very well-spoken statement, basically saying he's been put on this earth to coach, and he loves doing it, and he would love to continue to do it. But with him making this move, it's safe to say he probably won't coach again, and he has embraced that to change the narrative that so many coaches that look like him, they have been going through. And get this, guys, in 2006, it was a monumental year for black coaches. Super Bowl 41, we had 2 African-American coaches lead their teams to the Super Bowl game in Miami, Tony Dungy and Lovie Smith. But get this, during that season in 06, we had, at that time, if I'm not mistaken, 5 black coaches. And since then, this has been a big-time story every offseason, hiring more African-American coaches, hiring more minorities. You just said, Mike, there's only 1 right now. So in 06, we were in a better position with black coaches as head coaches in the National Football League than where we are now.
Backward. Well, the only thing I would, and maybe I'm probably being naive because we know how it works. In this league, in every corporation, we all know how it works. We've all experienced it at some level or another. I guess it's just, unless the NFL wants to tell on itself, a guy that had back-to-back winning seasons in Miami with Brian Flores' resume, ask Colin Kaepernick how this works. His qualifications didn't get him another job. But if this wouldn't be collusion, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? We know that history says if you rock the boat, if you challenge the system, you're going to pay the price for it. If he pays the price for calling out what we all see with our own eyes and have seen time and time again, you're telling on yourself. Then this is what he's talking about. How does somebody with his credentials not get a job? So I don't know which progressive owner it would take to do it, but if he goes unemployed for taking this stance, what more proof do you need? But I mean, that's probably where it's going to end, unfortunately, because that's reality.
Yeah, I agree with you. When you look at the quality candidates that were available, I thought B. Flo would probably be one of the first names to hear as the new head coach to this organization. Quick example I'd like to highlight for you guys. The Los Angeles Chargers, their head coach is Brandon Staley, right? Mm-hmm. Remember what his role was a year ago. He was the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. Team that had success on the defensive side that led to him getting a head coaching opportunity with the Chargers. Who is the defensive coordinator for the Rams this year? Raheem Morris.
Yeah, you guys get
an opportunity.
Who's been an interim coach
that Brandon Staley benefited from last year? Do you think Raheem would get the same opportunity? No.
It's the double standards on the offensive side of the ball. Be enemy of the play caller in Kansas City.
The defense is better this year. Yeah. It's safe to say they were able to do more with Raheem as a defensive coordinator than Brandon Staley because they're playing in the championship. And I, for one, I love my owners that are in Pittsburgh that I played for, the Rooney family, unbelievable family. I love them. They do things the right way, but they need to get rid of the Rooney. Throw it away, because now you have people wasting quality individuals' time just to fulfill a requirement. That we just saw it with the text message from
with the text.
Belichick.
Michael, I wonder if if that will constitute, again, not a lawyer, but will that constitute the proverbial smoking gun, as like, hey, they already know the guy that they're hiring. Yeah. They're just bringing you in to fulfill a requirement. You got it in writing from not just any coach, but the greatest coach of all time.
And imagine, and sometimes that's what it takes, like a mistake like that, an accidental insight, an accidental revelation. Where if you look at that text, Belichick says, "I'm told from the Bills and the Giants." So he's got he's working like a reporter. I got people in Buffalo and in New York telling me that you're the guy. And I wonder how long Flores figured out, like, he ain't talking to me, but let me see if I can get more information out of him. But let me ask you this, Bryant, because, look at these coaches, and you point out that Raheem Morris is the D coordinator for the Rams, and it took Arthur Blank was joking, but I didn't like his joke before the Falcons hired their head coach, Smith. Before they hired him, Arthur Blank was asked, does Raheem Morris have a chance at the job? He said, yeah, maybe if he goes undefeated. And he started laughing. Oh, you got to go undefeated to be the head coach of this team? What is it? What do you think it is? Is it just as simple as that we just don't look at an African American and think that person has leadership ability, has intellectual ability? What do you think it is that keeps us having these conversations with no progress, but as Mike pointed out, regress?
It may be a combination of the things you just stated. And I think it just boils down to relatability. Think about this. People oftentimes associate themselves with people they can relate to, people they understand or they want to understand, and they feel comfortable in being around that said individuals. Let's keep it real. Most owners come from a different environment than some of the black coaches they're interviewing. They're thinking about hiring. And sometimes, because you might not understand an individual, where they've come from, you're not drawn to them. And when it comes to being the face of a $1 billion organization, corporation, I think that's why we're not seeing the hires that we would like to see, and that's deserving of being hired, because it's just about being able to relate to individuals, feel comfortable around that said individual. And that has been the issue. Another example, Adam Gase. How do you get a promotion doing a horrible job for a team in your division, and an opposing team hires you and give you a raise and a promotion? How many African-American head coaches would get that opportunity? Adam Gase was piss poor in Miami. Horrible. Didn't work out well. Ryan Tannehill looked bad. Everything in Miami looked bad. He gets fired by the Dolphins. The Jets, who they're in the same division, saw how bad Adam Gase was personally twice and say, you know what? We're going to bring you in as our head coach. And right now we don't have a GM, so we will allow you to make some of the personnel decisions as well. And then they're crying wolf in New York when he does a horrible job. Why are you surprised? Why? But some coaches have the leeway. They have options. They have an opportunity to have a mistake here and there compared to other coaches.
Absolutely.
And most of them that I'm referring to, they're African American. They don't have the same leeway.
Dog, I mean, we were going to talk about him today. We probably won't have time at this point, and obviously a lot's changed. Josh McDaniels introduced yesterday. You can't get fired. There will never be a black dude. I'm going to go ahead and say this definitively. Never say never. There will never be a black dude that gets fired in his second season, gets a job, leaves that job high and dry after he gets a second opportunity, and then gets a third opportunity. Okay, black coach is lucky enough to get a second opportunity. Ain't no way in hell. And let's not even talk about the Texans. We could be here all day. Let's not even talk about the Texans actually entertaining the idea of hiring Josh McCown to be the head coach of their team, okay? We're going to make a hard pivot because I do want to talk to you about the other big story of the day, and that is Tom Brady officially announcing his retirement. And let's kind of connect this story. We talked about Brian Flores and his last employer, Stephen Ross. I saw you do some dot connecting, but it was over the weekend. I don't want to steal your thunder, but you really feel like after Boston fans gotten their feelings today about Brady not naming them or not naming the Patriots in his retirement statement, sounds like you think Boston fans might have another reason to resent Tom Brady post-career.
Yeah, you're right. I did this last week. I'm just connecting the dots. I read a lot. I listen a lot. And I feel like when you're the competitor that Tom Brady has shown us that he is, when you step away from the game, guys, you still want to have something to fulfill that competitive edge that you've grown with your entire life, basically. And players that have showcased greatness mentally and physically, they don't just walk away from the game. Look at Michael Jordan. He retired, but he eventually got involved in the game of basketball. Drew Brees just retired, but he's still involved to some degree. So I felt like Tom Brady may walk away from the game as a player, but I think he would definitely be involved and tied to an organization to some degree as a president, maybe a minority, a potential owner or something. And I felt like it only made sense if that organization was the Miami Dolphins. Now, clearly, I stated this before the information became known with Brian Flores, but I felt like Stephen Ross, Tom Brady, Michigan ties. You know, Stephen Ross loves Tom Brady like a son. Him and his wife purchased a home in Miami-Dade over a year ago or so, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, to set up shop. So everything kind of felt like, wow, it only makes sense. And I think if you're Tom Brady and you want to tell an organization, I want to be part of your ownership. I want to be part of your the front office. Which team would say, no, we don't want that?
Interesting thought. That'd be a heck of a turn of events if he ended up with a division rival. You know, Stephen Ross is watching Jim Harbaugh interview elsewhere. I can't imagine Robert Kraft and the Kraft family watching Tom Brady help another team, period, let alone within the division. We appreciate you helping us out, Brian. Thank you so much for coming through,
brother. Maybe the Broncos. Maybe the Broncos too, B. Maybe it's the Broncos.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot
going with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady.
There are a lot of inconsistent organizations that would love the mentorship from a guy like Tom Brady. Heck, even if he wanted to do that with Tampa, he probably could. They'd be like, okay, yeah, Tom. He was already basically
Dude
GM.
Dude can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Dude can do whatever he wants. Hey, Brian, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Great work.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.